Hi everyone. So Mercury is direct now, but it's right next to Neptune, and it's not going to pass Neptune until like another few days or so. We have the new moon coming up early April, early next week in Aries, and until then we have Pluto and the south node of the moon coming to an exact conjunction. So yeah, Mercury's direct now, but we're in it's a very like dark before dawn kind of phase right now. Mercury being next to Neptune, it hasn't passed it yet, so there's a lot of still being in the unknown. There's something new emerging, but the clarity and the perspective isn't there. And Pluto with the south node is deep. Oh, it's like taking the deepest stuff and it's moving it through. So there's a lot of shadow, a lot of darkness, a lot of really reaching into the deeper places inside of ourselves. And I feel that this is a really sacred wave to ride until the new moon. And I want to speak, when tuning into the calling to share, what comes to me is to speak about the oneness. And this is something that I feel is very easy to not really understand beyond a rough, wavy, conceptual idea of it that's kind of intangible. To say that everything is one. When I meditate on this, I find it incredibly helpful as a guide for me in navigating my life, in clearing the illusions and the confusions and seeing clearly. To say that everything is one is to orient from the perspective of there's only one. Yes, we have these individual aspects, myself, you, the tree, the ocean, different characters playing different roles, different timelines. But that is just the oneness experiencing itself through infinite individuality. Beyond the infinite individuality is the foundation of this is just one. This is just one. When we open our hearts to that, and we give ourselves not to the intellectual conception of it, but the giving of ourselves just to it, the faith of it, it allows us to live in this present moment with a deeper sense of meaning. And that meaning isn't qualified by a specific quality that says this is the meaning of your life, but the meaning becomes self-revealing because everything and everyone reflects itself back to itself. This is always true, and yet there's something special that when the oneness decides to think of it, when the oneness decides to notice itself, when we decide to notice ourselves, when we decide to notice there's only one, everything around us is a reflection, not just a reflection of us. That can be a very limited, partially true way of thinking of it. Everything in life becomes a reflection of the one, which is also us. And thus everything that we're feeling and working through and confusing about is not just a personal thing that's relevant to us. It's also collective. It's happening everywhere and in everything. And the trees and the conversations around us and the ocean waves and the air, the breeze, everything gives us a hint. Everything gives us a reflection. Everything gives us the pure honoring and validation of our own inner being. And our own presence in this life is constantly, with total abundance, giving this reflection back to all of creation. It's very, very easy to walk through life with a notion of there are things to figure out and problems to solve. And that orientation holds a duality and a separation from everything being one right now. That the answer, the guidance, the clarity is inherent to this present moment. The seeking to find it obstructs what's true right now. There's an opportunity during this time to really cultivate our faith. And faith isn't something that you just believe in. It's not blind. It's not like, I believe in this and this and that. Faith is beyond belief. Faith is a wholehearted surrender, a gesturing of giving our entire being over to a knowing that cannot be qualified, that cannot be proven, it cannot be provided for, it cannot be taken away. It's an unshakable conviction and a knowing, because it's riding upon a fundamental truth. We're not making it up. Faith in oneness, faith in reality, faith in the truth, in the redeeming nature of reality, of this present moment. It's something to apply against all odds, against all arguments to the contrary. And this need not be an effort to try and stress our minds to find the faith. Faith is really just a turning to and a resting upon and a relying upon a foundation that is 100% reliable. It's 100% reliable. To have faith in reality is to have faith in the one thing you can always depend upon. And that is what makes it different than faith in something else that you need to believe, you need to uphold it with your mind, you need to convince yourself of it. And so we all have the ability to have this faith because it's foundational to who we are. Reality is foundational to who we are. Sometimes I struggle with really being still, really being quiet. And I have a personal gift, a personal devotion that I've given to myself, that every day, in the morning and the evening, I meditate. And if I'm feeling super restless, I say at least 5 minutes. Especially those times where it's like I can't even imagine settling and I want to go off and do all these other things. I give myself a gift of just 5 minutes, and I always find that in stillness there is a much, much greater perspective that just sort of melts away the urgency. But I want to speak to something beyond this, because I find for myself settling into a deep stillness is oftentimes very difficult, and I feel that we are often battling. I know that this happens for me, and I just see this in the collective. We are often battling with reality, with quieting our minds or surrendering into a peaceful state of just witnessing and allowing. And so I want to offer a very forgiving perspective that's been given to me, and I'm very grateful to be hearing this and just applying. It's one that doesn't say you have to do this practice, you have to do this thing to find the truth. It's more of an invitation and a gesture to turn our awareness where we are, right? Whether we're eating, walking, making a video, talking to someone. Not creating this very strict parameter wherein then we can find truth and surrender to it. It's something far more compassionate and forgiving that says in any moment we can invite in the recognition and the awareness of the oneness. We can turn our hearts to surrender and to trust and to have faith in what's true. And in that place, every breath feels relevant. Every blow of the wind, every person that walks by. We're not searching our minds for meaning, like what does that mean? But we can feel this receptivity, and there's a humility as well. To feel that life is answering itself. To really feel that life is responsive to itself. You know, they say when you pray, one of my teacher guides that runs Sweat Lodge that I'm really grateful to know, he's often said that when you pray once. Let go of it. Don't keep on repeating it, because that can get in the way of it. Don't try to recreate the same prayer over and over and over again. And I love that. Life is incredibly responsive to itself. Whatever we generate, life is answering. And we can really have this feeling right now that we are children of God, that our source answers every question, provides for every need, is aware of every detail. Nothing is left unaddressed. And the biggest gift we can give ourselves is to do whatever we want to do, whatever we feel is right for us. That really gives us peace. There's permission here. Being in a peaceful state of mind is the most important thing. So I wish that for all of us. And to remember that everything passes, everything comes and goes. And it's really the most challenging, the darkest times in our life that are the most fruitful, that are the most powerful. Because those are the times where we have the opportunity to reach inside to a deeper knowing, one that can only come from inside of us. All right, much love to you all.